Good morning, LTSM community. Today is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. It's 6:45 a.m. Thank you very much for being here this morning. Um, each day we gather here at 6:45 to practice meditation in the morning. Meditation that uses the technique called Vipassana, meditation focused and centered in the act of breathing, using the act of breathing as an anchor or as a foundation, um, which allows us to be fully connected with the present moment, with the here and the now, um, which can be really useful for us throughout the day as we go about our tasks. Tasks which usually ask us to not be in the here and now, but rather thinking about the future, reflecting upon the past. Um, However, they still require us to be present in the moment when we are doing things about them. So even if we are reading about the past, we need to be simultaneously in the past while being in the moment of reading. Or if we are planning a project or something like that, we have to be simultaneously in the moment of the actual writing or constructing of a document, while at the same time projecting ourselves into the future. And it's a skill that, as humans, we need to be able to do. But that can also sometimes generate stress, conflict, and difficulties in our day-to-day life. And so when that happens, meditation is also a way to um, to reset things and to bring things back down to a manageable level. And so this technique can be used not only at 6:45 a.m. in the morning, but also throughout the day as we feel um, again overwhelmed or stressed, or just that we've become disconnected from what we are supposed to be doing. We can take a few minutes to connect ourselves to our breathing, to remind ourselves of what is essential, and hopefully to come back with a renewed purpose and a renewed sense of what we are doing. Yesterday, we talked a bit about the breathing technique. I'm just going to quickly review and remind that when practicing this meditation, we focus on deep breathing. Deep breathing being breathing that happens down here with the use of the abdomen, with the use of the diaphragm muscle, which is the muscle that sort of separates our thoracic cavity from the chest and the stomach. Um, as we inhale, we should feel the inflation, the growth, the expansion of our stomach. As we exhale, we should feel it contract, shrink, get smaller, and go back down to its normal size. This helps us to take full advantage of our lung capacity, um, really extending the breath, allowing us to take in more oxygen and be deeper, more deeply connected to the present moment. Today, we're going to talk just very briefly about what it is that we're doing mentally uh, during meditation. Oftentimes, people think of meditation or they hear about meditation, and it's sometimes associated with the idea of not thinking about anything, having your mind completely blank, uh, trying to disconnect from any thoughts or ideas or sensations. Um, and while that is true in some cases, the meditation that we practice here is not really with that specific goal. It's about training our mind to focus on what is present and what is now um, in front of us. And so as we breathe in, expanding our stomach, expanding our abdomen, we are paying attention to that action, the sensation of the breath entering into the body, the sensation of ourselves expanding, the sensation of ourselves filling and being full of air. And then as we go back and exhale, as we contract, as we shrink, we pay attention to the idea and the sensations of our breath leaving the body, of that contraction. And finally, when we've exhaled completely, we experience being empty. And it's the play between those two states, being full and being empty, which gives us our philosophical base for our meditation, which is the play between those two extremes. In Western culture, the culture that most of us were born into and most of us are um, raised into, we tend to think of opposites like empty and full as exactly that, as opposites, as things that can't exist together. Whereas Eastern culture has a different way of looking at things. If you're familiar with the symbol of the yin and yang, the black and the white sort of half circles that fit into each other and that should have a printed yin and yang, um, and that support one another. In other words, there is no empty without fullness also existing, and there is no fullness without emptiness. And we can actually experience that in our breath because we can see how exhaling completely and fully, arriving to the state of emptiness, actually allows us or gives the possibility uh, of inhaling, of filling our lungs with air, and taking in that breath. And the opposite, of course, is true. In the act of inhaling, the act of taking in air, the act of expanding gives us the possibility uh, to to empty ourselves, to release, to let go, to exhale, to shrink. And so the two are not opposed to each other. In fact, each one depends upon the other. And this line of thinking can be applied to any situation in life where we can start to see that two things that are often considered to be opposites do not have to be enemies, do not have to cancel each other out, can find ways to supportively uh, coexist. And so meditation is not only a personal activity, but it's also a social activity. It's also expanding the possibilities of what we can think and what we can understand as a society, and uh, and allowing for difference, which is one of the most essential things these days. And so we're going to check our body position, making sure that we are sitting straight and erect. And we're going to breathe in, inhaling through our nose, paying attention to the breath as it enters the body. We take a moment to experience fullness, And then we exhale through the mouth, pushing all the air out of our lungs until we experience emptiness. We inhale, and we exhale. Each breath a little more measured, longer, more extended than the previous. Inhale, and exhale. And now you continue at your own pace, observing and experiencing emptiness and fullness. Thank you very much for your presence this morning. I hope you have a wonderful morning, a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you tomorrow.